Good morning, everybody. As we go to the chitas of today, today is Friday. We're holding the sixth reading in the portion of Mishpatim. We are holding on chapter 23, verse number 20. Behold, I'm going to send an angel before you, Lishmercha, to protect you, Baderach, in the way, and to bring you and to bring you to the place which I have designated. Now she says, here they were informed that would eventually sin. And the divine presence would then tell them, for I will not go up amongst you. So this was already a prophecy, so to say. What means that which I prepared, that I have designated to give to you. That is a straightforward, that's the simple meaning, Zepshutai. We want to go to the Medrash explains the place that I've already prepared in my specially heavenly place, which is directly above it. The Beis Hamikdash Shalamayla, there's a temple, there's the holy temple, the way it's in heaven, it's exactly facing the Beis Hamikdash the way it's in the earth. This is one of the verses stating in the holy temple above is directed opposite the holy temple in this world. This is one of the bases of the concept of Chassidus, that when you learn Tanya, that the concept of Malchus above is straight facing Malchus of this world, which is Yerushalayim, and the Beis Hamikdash, the Holy Temple, and still today the Temple Mount and the Western Wall today is facing exactly Beis Hamikdash Shalamayla. So that's Asher Echinoisi. Shenechim are designated. It's already since the creation of the world, which is the Svidus of the world. So already Malchus of Atzilus is already facing Malchus of this world with Yerushalayim and the Beis Hamikdash of this world. Verse 21, be watchful in his presence and listen to his voice. Do not rebel against him, because he will not overlook your iniquities. For my name is in him. Now she says, Al Tisame means rebel. Tisame connects rebellion. As we find in Yeshayahu, it says, you rebelled against my verse. Rash says, for he does not overlook your iniquities, for he is not used to the concept of sin. Since he is of the group who does not sin. And besides, he's merely an emissary. And he's not authorized only to carry out his mission, so he doesn't understand anything else but his mission. That's a malach, that's an angel. He bishmir b'kirbay. Now she says, what does that mean? His name is within him. My name is within him. This is connected to the beginning of the verse. Be watchful in his presence, because my name is associated with him. Our rabbis said that this is the angel is called Metatrein. The Medrash, it's Gemara in Sanhedrin. His name is Metatrein, whose name is the name of his master. Why is his name the master? Because Metatrein, the word Metatrein equals up to the word Shaddai, Shin Dalad Yud. So Metatrein equals up to 314. And that's why his name is Metatrein. You shall listen to his voice. And you shall do everything I speak. And I will be an enemy to your enemies. And I'll persecute those who persecute you. Now she said, Tzaranti is and I will persecute. Verse 23, my angel will go before you. I'll bring you to the Amorites, Achiti, to the Hittites, Aprizi, to the Prizites, Vaknani, to the Canaanites, Hachivi, the Hivitites, Ivusi, and the Jebusites, and I will annihilate them. 7 nations. Verse 24, do not bow down to their gods. Lisa of them, and do not serve these gods. And you should not do what they do. You should shatter all the idols. You should demolish it, and you should shatter all their idols that are in the Eretz Yisrael. Haris la'irsim, those gods. Matzevaisam is the stones that they set up in order to prostrate themselves. Verse 25. Vadtem Hashem alekeichem, you shall serve the Lord your God. Uveidach haslach mecha, and I'll bless your bread. Vesmei mecha, and your water. Vasireisi machla mikebecha, and I'll remove illness from your midst. And that completes the Chumash for today. We now go to the Tanya of the day, which is the 27th chapter in Tanya. So in the previous chapters, the Alter Rebbe stated that sadness, the Alter Rebbe is dealing with sadness that hinders one in the service of God in general, and in his battle with his Yetzer Hara, with his evil inclination in particular. He therefore discusses means of overcoming sadness caused by material concerns, by anxiety over sins. In this chapter, the Alter Rebbe will discuss another type of melancholy, another type of depression that's caused by concern over one's sinful thoughts and desires. Not only about it, maybe he hasn't sinned, but that he has the capability, he has the thought of sin. This category itself may be further subdivided into two, where these thoughts occur while one is occupied with the material affairs, and when these thoughts disturb him in the service of God. When he davens, when he studies, like the Alter Rebbe spoke yesterday, the same subdivided. Also, when do you have these kind of thoughts, whether it's in the time of prayer or it's in the time of work? This chapter, the Alter Rebbe discusses the first situation. He states that not only are these thoughts no cause for sadness, but on the contrary, these source to give rise to joy. And this is a phenomenal concept, one of the great teachings of the Alter Rebbe and the Chassidus in general, in that what a person should think and what a person should feel when he has the potential in his being, the concept of negativity. We're not talking about a person does the Aveda, then he has to do tshuva. A person thinks about an Aveda, he has evil thoughts. And these evil thoughts, he has guilt issues that made up guilt issues that come up to his mind, and these things that come to his mind, and what did he do with it? Alter Rebbe says, if, however, sadness doesn't stem from anxiety over sins, maybe he sinned, he did tshuva, hopefully he didn't sin at all. It's committed, but over sin, but that is committed, but over facts, that sinful thoughts. That's his problem. His problem is, how is it possible for him to have sinful thoughts? He has these simple thoughts, fantasies, emotions. These are things that we have. We struggle. We struggle with thinking that we're inadequate, that we are not good people. All these kind of thoughts that come to a person's mind. If it occurs to him, not in the time of the service of God, while he's working, business, he's working his job, he's going shopping, whatever it might be. He has these thoughts of inadequate, that he's basically not a perfect person. And maybe he has the capability to do things that are not imperfect. Alter Rebbe says the following statement. which was truly an amazing statement. Adarabba, yeshle l'smayach bechelkei. On the contrary, a person should be happy with his lot. That I have evil thoughts, that's because I'm a human being. I'm not a tzaddik. That I have anxieties is because I am not a tzaddik. I am not a tzaddik. And therefore, I shouldn't be sad. I actually be happy who I am. That even though these thoughts come to my mind, he averts his attention from it. The Eibishter gives me so many opportunities to show who I am, to stand up and show who I am. And I should be happy for all these opportunities to be able to show myself and God who I am. Because that's really what's important, is me, my relationship with God, me and God, and I and God and me. And therefore, God throws me in these wrenches and God gives me all these things to show who I am. I don't do what anybody else do, me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, I should thank the Eibishter that God gives me these thoughts that simply proves to myself and to the Eibishter himself who I am, who I'm really. So it is clear that here we are speaking of one who does not willfully dwell in sinful thoughts. Well, if he does so, he's a sinner. We're not talking about. The problem is that I have thoughts. Why am I not? Why am I not like somebody else who's perfect, who doesn't have these things? For why did God give me this challenge? And the previous shots already dealt with sadness arising from sin. We already mentioned that. And you had a time to fix the sin, and there's a time to mirurus. There's time for bitterness of a bad. But that I have the capacity of a sinful thought, that is not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. Having the potential of negative is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It proves my capabilities. A challenge proves who I am. L'kayim mashenema, and this is what the verse says. We say it in the Shema every day. Do not fulfill. Do you not follow after my heart, and after your eyes, asher atem zaynam which you go astray. That a person likes to look at the internet, that a person likes to look at these news, that's human nature. That's human nature. Turning it off is human power. Turning it off is my choice. And that's the pasuk. And as the Alter Rebbe says, continue, the pasuk is not talking to righteous people. They don't have that issue. The pasuk is talking to normal people. Righteous people are above normal people. We are normal people. That God gave us within our beings desires and capabilities of negative thoughts. So only when sinful thoughts enter one's mind can he fulfill the command. So if you never had a capability of sinful thought, what do you need to verse? What do you need to verse? Don't follow the stray your heart. Don't look after what your eyes see. What do I need if my eyes don't see anything? If I'm going to cover my walker with my eyes closed, so I don't need to verse. Pasuk is talking to the person who walks with his eyes open, Baruch Hashem, because he doesn't want to trip. And he's going to see things. And now what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with what you see? Are you going to be able to overcome what you see? Or are you going to fall into what you see? For the intention of the verses, that the one to be at a level where such thoughts would not occur to him, this is the level of a tzaddik. who has eradicated all evil from his heart. He doesn't. A tzaddik doesn't. If you can imagine such a thing, a tzaddik does not see evil. He sees everything good. He sees the good in everything. Pushes away everything else. He doesn't care about it. As we learned in Tanya, he hates anything evil. So everything that's evil, he pushes away. He doesn't have anything to do with it. The regular person looks at evil and says, wait a second. Let's look at it. Wait a second. Is there something good? Is there something that I'm enjoying in this? The verse refers to the one who does have such thoughts, and he commands him to banish them, as the Alter Rebbe continues. And therefore, the verse that you say in the Shema every day, 3-4 times a day, is not talking to righteous people. That the verse would even say Zaynim, that we go astray. Tzaddik doesn't go nowhere. A tzaddik is called a yashar. He's called a person that it goes on one road. Nothing diverts him in any way. It's impossible to divert to another road. But we're talking about a person that looks at the other road and says, wait a second, maybe the other road is more interesting. Maybe that what I'm looking at is a good thing to look at. Maybe I'm actually enjoying what I'm looking at. And then the pasuk says, "Oh, stop! El Beinim, the pasuk is talking to a middle person. Those like a middle person. The Alter Rebbe goes very practical, that it enters in the mind erotic thoughts. That's why God created a human being. Bein beheter, whether it's in nature or bein b'isad. Alter Rebbe is the only one who write hulu. Whether it's an innocent thing or even something that is maybe allowed in a way. Bein b'isad, whether it's chas shalom, chulu, etc., or otherwise. That's human nature. I'm a human being. That's where the Eibishter created me. And when I see something, I have a desire. That's what it's part of the Ten Commandments. Don't be jealous of somebody else's thing. That's also a concept that comes to my mind. That means God gave me the tendency maybe to be jealous. Whether it's somebody's house or somebody's wife or somebody's car or somebody's money. That I see another person have more money, I might say, wait a second, what about me? I get a little jealous. And then the pasuk says, it tells you, don't be jealous. How do you do that? You have to be able to push it out. That is masir daite. You avert your mind. When I avert my mind, and I say, forget it, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to contemplate it. I don't want to be involved in this. Makayim loves that. You fulfill this injunction. So how many times a day does God give us the capability to fulfill a mitzvah in the Torah? Now you might say, wow, that's not like that's a mitzvah. I'm not doing anything. I'm just diverting my mind. What's the big deal? I have the power over my mind, and I can think about something else, and I can open up something else, and I can look at something else. So what's the big deal? Comes the Gemara and therefore tells us, Yoshev ale'avar aveda, when a person averts his mind from doing something negative, whether it's in thought, speech, and action, that's if you did an action. Don't look at it as something easy. It's not. It's not. It's not an easy thing, first of all. And therefore, by averting my mind from it, I've done a mitzvah. The truth is, by averting my mind from it, I'll never come to say it, and I will never come to do it. The reason why ultimately I come and I speak about it, chas v'shalom, I'll even have the potential doing it because it's on my mind. If I would have averted my mind from this issue, it would never come to anywhere else. Therefore, he should rejoice. The kiyam halav in his compliance with this injunction, this lav, this prohibition of loisa suru. Don't look. Turn away. Turn away. B'kiyam mitzvah say mamish, as he actually did a mitzvah. So you should be happy. Be happy who you are, because God gave you the potential for all these thoughts, and God gave you the capacity and the capability to push it away. Just like he gave you the potential of a thought, he gave you the potential, he gave you the capability and the power to loisa suru, to look away, to move my mind away, to avert my seichel. Talk about something else. Change the subject, as we say. Change the subject. That's in my capacity. Change the subject. Somebody wants to talk something negative, instead of fighting with that person, change the subject. Let's talk about something else. Thus, not only should the occurrence of these sorts not grieve him, it ought to bring him joy. For only thereby he's be able to fill a commandment. What would be the commandment? The question would be, what a tzaddik, what does he do with Leisa Suru? What does he do with that verse? He doesn't know what it is. What is the meaning that I should avert my mind? I know I have nothing to avert it from. If you can imagine such a situation, that the tzaddik doesn't understand maybe what is the meaning of Leisa Suru. What's the meaning? You should avert your mind. My mind never goes anywhere else. Then the Alter Rebbe says something. If you understand this, you'll understand the next statement that he says. Va'adarab, and on the contrary, ha'atzvus, depression over these things, is not humility. It's not because you're such a holy person that you're depressed on these issues that I'm not good, I'm not worth it, all these negative thoughts that people have. In Megasis Aruach, it's due to conceit. You're doing the 10th commandment. You're envious of somebody else. Which comes, is anybody envious of somebody else? Because he's not happy with what he has. He wants somebody else's things. Because the person does not know his space. Actually, the word makeh means doesn't recognize his place. We are unhappy with our place. We think somebody else's place. As the expression goes, we think grass is greener on the other side. We're not happy with our station. And that comes from ego. Comes from ego. That's why the Chazal say, actually, last week's portion, I'm God, your God, and don't be envious, is the first and last commandment. Because they're both actually are all the commandments. I would never come to do one Aveda if I was not envious of other people, other people's money, other people's station, other people's lives. I wouldn't come to murder. I wouldn't come to steal. If I believed in God, I would realize that everything that I have comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So if this is what I have, this is what I deserve at this present moment. And therefore, I should be happy. Whether it's in my mind, is it gewaldic, it's great, or chas v'sholom, whether it's in my mind at this present moment, it's not so great. I shouldn't go and take it out of another person. I should put it on Hashem Elokecha. Go pray to God. Go back to God. And pray to the Eibishter. God should give you a better place. If you believe that this place is not a good place. Don't go hurt another person. Don't rip off another person. Don't do adultery. Don't do murder, God forbid. Don't steal. Realize what the place the Abisha gave, God put you in. And God gives you the potential of all these negative things. Therefore, he's distressed. Why am I not a tzaddik? Why am I not somebody else? I want to be somebody else. I want to be the tzaddik who has no struggles, who sees everything. I would love to be that. But that's not who you are. And don't be egotistical to God. When God put me in a certain situation, then that's what God wants me to be in that situation at this present time. And what are you going to do about it? Because to a righteous person, a tzaddik doesn't have such kind of foolish thoughts. Because if I would recognize my station, I am far, far from the level of a tzaddik. As it says, as the next words, I wish I was a middle person. A tzaddik is out of my league. It's out of my station. It's not my obligation. My obligation is to be a Beinani, to be a middle person, and not to be wicked. Kol Yom, that is my job. To be a Beinani, to be a middleman, and not to be wicked any day of my life. Even 1 second. That's it. That's my job. That's what I came to the world for. I came to the world simply to overcome any obstacle, any challenge, any thought that comes my way. That's it. And I'm happy to do it. Because this gives me great merit. It makes me who I am. It gives me great merit. It gives me great joy. Meaning this is what he should be striving for at the present, rather than vainly desiring to be a tzaddik. Rather than vainly, I want to be someplace else. If I was a rich man, if I was a holy man, if I was in Israel, if, famous joke, every Jew has that if. There's no ifs right now. There's who I am right now. And I need to recognize the place that I am and the struggles that I have and the issues that I have, and realize that there's a God in the world. And therefore, I have the capability to be the better self. I have the capability to be a better version of myself, not a better version of somebody else. I can become a better version of who I am. This is surely the true measure of a middleman. V'avaydasam in their task. And what is it? That's our job, to subdue the evil impulse. And the thought that arises from my heart, to my mind, and to completely move it out of my mind, from this thought. And to repulse it and to move it away with both of my hands, not with one hand, but with both of my hands, as I mentioned before. So the Alter Rebbe explains it, that the evil of the soul of a Bain remains vigorous. That's it. It's not going anywhere. Just because I push off this thought this minute doesn't mean I'm going to see something in a minute later. His task is to prevent it from expressing itself in a thought, speech, and that's it. My task is to have mind over heart. Mind over the situation. That's why I say many times, mind over matter. mind over any situation to the best of my ability. God has not asked me to be somebody else's ability, to accomplish somebody else's service. God is looking at me and saying, that's it. I put you in this situation. I expect you to accomplish this. I expect you to, you know what? It's going to, and that will prove yourself. That's actually going to make you who you are, who you truly are. Thus, he has no control over the currents of evil thoughts. That's not your job. I gave you the evil thoughts. You're going to stop something that I have done in his mind, but only over the acceptance or rejection of these evil. That's your choice. Am I going to take this evil thought and go with it? Now make it into something bigger than it is? Or I'm going to say, you know what? I'm not interested. No interest. Imagine if we can do that. That's why the question before was Halavai Yeh Beinani. I wish I can do that. And the Alter Rebbe says you could. You have to ultimately convince yourself that every person can be a Beinani. And every person can overcome their thoughts and their challenges in life. The Alter Rebbe explained it that the evil of the soul of Beinani reigns. And then the Alter Rebbe says, you might think yourself, wow, this is like a constant issue. And this is never ending. The whole dechiyah, but you should realize, by every repulsion, by every push, every time I push something off from my thought, you're not just pushing it off within yourself. You're transforming the world. I'm transforming the world because I'm not only pushing off an evil in myself, I'm pushing off evil in the world at large. And since the arousal from above or below, in our case, the initiative and the Beinani in suppressing his own Sitra Achra, his own other side, Asarusa de La'ela, produces a corresponding arousal from above. So not only do we push off evil within ourselves, not only do we push off the evil from the world, we even have an arousal from above. We have a response from heaven. And what happens? And the Sitra Achra above in the supernal world, the rooted in the Sitra Achra of this world, which soars like an eagle, is also suppressed. Everything that happens in this world is because it affected in the upper world. If we fix something in this world, we fix something in the upper worlds, which brings down negative in this world. And that's why our response should always be to anything negative, should also be a positive response. Should also be a positive response, even to the negatives that's happening in the world. Because suppressing evil brings about the concept of suppressing it truly in the higher heavens above. L'kayim mashenemar, as the verse says, in Tagbiyah Kenesha, though you soar like an eagle, means that God says, evil soars in this world and it soars in the upper worlds. Mishamar itcha, the Eibush says, I'll bring it down. I'll bring it down. If you bring it down in this world, I'll bring it down in the upper worlds. Num Hashem. Hiflik b'Zoyar, Parshas Truma, as is brought down in the Zoyar in the portion of Truma, on page 128. Begoidol nachas ruach lefanav, how there's a great satisfaction which occurs in heaven. When a simple, small pushing off of evil happens in this world. That means there's a great satisfaction. That's why there's a great satisfaction here in this world. Person has satisfaction when he overcomes things in this world. It creates a tainug. It creates a great delight. Tainug. When a person overcomes something in this world, he has, it's a simcha to him. It's a great joy. That's why there is a concept of a suda saidah. It's like a suda. We make a kiddush when we recognize we have overcome something over here. It might be small, it might be big. Every concept that a person overcomes in this world, it is a big thing. Because not only it's a big thing in this world, it's a big thing in the spiritual world. The stalik, and what happens when there's a push-off of evil in the upper worlds, I mean the potential of evil, because everything comes from the heaven. Stalik yikoru kuchibricha al kula. It's not just a revelation of God into a vessel, so to say. It's the glory of God. Thereby the glory of God rises above all. More than any other praises. So one push-off of something here is more than any good that you can do. Because every good that you can do comes down into a vessel. Response is limited to the action. Over here, it's not a non-action. It's pushing yourself away. It's stopping the action. So there's no vessel. It's something that is greater than any vessel. It's called the revelation. I'll give you the Hasidic terminology. It's called revelation of Sovev Kalaman. There are two in Chassidus. We have learned this in Tanya. There's Memalik Kalaman, which means the way God fills the world, the way God comes within the world. And then there's Sovev Kalaman. There's an encompassing life. There's the way there's two miracles in this world. There's the miracle within nature, and everything in nature is a miracle, truly. But it's within nature. And then there's a miracle above nature. There's the concept, I'll say it this way, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Yud Kei Vav Kei, we have the two names of God. Yud Kei Vav Kei is Sovev Kalam, is the way God is above, so to say. God encompasses the world. Elokeinu, your God, is the way God comes in, and it's singular. Like Hashem Elokeinu, your God means singular in that way, that every God, so to say, comes to each and every entity or each and every individual individually. That's Memalik Cholam, the way God fills the world. But what really is everything? Shem Echad. That means the way God comes within the world and the way God is above the world is all the same thing. Because by God, everything is important. Whether it comes within the world, the way God's above the world, it's one entity. It's one concept. And therefore, when a Jew has the capability to think above the box, so to say, to go above the box, to go above himself, then he has the capability. He reveals a power that is above any kind of vessel. He reveals an infinite power, so to say, an infinite power. That's why it says right after that, Shema, it says V'ahavta. V'ahavta is love. Love you can have two levels of love. And even in the Mishnah, you have a love, Hatluya B'davar, you have a love that is connected to something. What does the Mishnah say? Batal davar, batal ava. If you have a love that's connected to something, then if that something goes away, then the love goes away. You were trying to create a love that has no limitation. Has no limitation. A love that brings tainug. That's the love of tainug. That's like the first chapter Shema is all in singular. It's all about the quintessential tainug, the ultimate concept of love, where there is total delight. Today is Friday. Friday is Shabbos. We're going to Shabbos. Shabbos is a Yom Kodesh. It's a holy day. If we can connect to that holiness, go out of the box, so to say. Go out of the box. Go out of the strings attached. Go into holiness. What is Shabbos? Tainug. Shabbos is Tainug, delight. Shabbos is supposed to bring delight to every Jewish person in the world. Because Shabbos is when we go out of the normal. We go out of the normal. We go into something that is holy. We touch the concept of holiness. We think out of the box. We talk out of the box. We eat out of the box. Everything is out of the normal. It's part of the week. 7th day of the week. But it's Shabbos. It's Kodesh. It's a holy day. It's a holy day. It's connected to God. Make this day holy, because it is holy, and you'll be able to have tainug. You'll be able to have delight. Going the normal way of life is wonderful, but we're looking for tainug. We're looking to have a delight. You can do Torah mitzvahs, my friends, and have no tainug. You're doing everything right, but there's no tainug. There's no delight. Why? Because you're doing everything what you think in your normal kind of a way. And you're stuck on a person who does everything in a normal way. No. Bring holiness into it. Get out of the box. Break the box. That's breaking the Sitra Achra. Break the box. Break the box. Go out of yourself. Connect to something more spiritual. Make Hashem Elokeinu. Both of them are God's name. Both Hashem and Elokeinu are both God's name. They're both holy. But what is the Jews' avodah? Shem Echad. Oh, the supernatural, so to say, the unconventional, the going out of one's nature, going out of one's nature, and connecting to something that is godly. That is Echad. That is oneness. Then you accomplish Hashem Echad. Then you accomplish the true concept of the oneness of God. And then you have a hafta. Then you have a love that is unconditional. Unconditional. And that is a response from heaven too. The Eibishter goes by a human being's break, one little breakage in a human being, one little concept of a person overcoming himself, overcoming his own inhibitions, overcoming his nature. That's the Eibishter made him natural, that he might look at something, that he has a desire for this. Overcoming that, and awakens above an unbelievable response. I overcame myself. That means I've gone above nature. God goes above nature. And that's what the Zohar says. This is mentioned many times in many Maimarim of all the Rabbeim, the statement of the Zohar. Istalik yikara de kuchabricha le'el al kula yater mishivcha achroi istalka do yater mikula. And what does it mean? Thereby the glory rises above all, more than by any other praises. And this ascent is greater than all else. Going above one's nature in this world is greater than anything you can do in this world. Thus, and you're doing nothing. You're really think about it, you're really doing nothing. You're not doing it. So you're really doing nothing. You're pushing it away. What am I doing? You're doing everything. Because that shows you're going above your nature. And that's the tainug that God's looking for. That's the delight. That's the Shabbos. That is the Shabbos. Can you make a day in your week, not just it's a vacation, a day of rest? It's holy. The vacation is holy. The rest is holy. That would make sense. We need a break. Can't work 7 days a week. No, make it holy. You're right. You shouldn't work. You shouldn't work, and you should. We need a break. It makes a lot of sense. That's not the reason. The reason is we're trying to bring holiness. We're trying to connect. That's natural. Everyone wants a break, and everybody deserves a break. And it's a beautiful thing to get together once a week on Shabbos, and that's natural. You don't have to go. You don't have to have the Torah to come up with this concept. It's a beautiful concept. Even Moshe Rabbeinu convinced the Pharaoh that the Jews should not work on Shabbos. They need a break. We all need a break. No, Kedusha. The God is looking for Tainug. He's looking for a delight, to be a delightful concept. To become a delightful concept, we need to go above oneself. We need to go above the natural. We need to see the supernatural in the natural. We need to realize that everything is connected to God, our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. God, beautiful stuff. Thus, the evil thoughts which enter our mind of a Beni that enables him to fulfill God's command or averting his attention from them, the advice of doing the Sitra Achra. So not only is it a great success for myself, it's a great success in the whole purpose of creation. It creates the tainug. It creates the true tainug by God, the true tainug, the true delight by God, the true delight by us, the whole purpose of this whole world. And that completes the Tanya of the day. The day is the 23rd day of the month, which is Tillim. You are to say, and 1 second, let me find the Yom Yom. Every day I have to do that. I should do it before. I apologize. So first of all, Tillim is chapter 108 to chapter 112. That is Tillim of the day. If you do those 5 chapters, you do the Chitas of the day. I will now tell you the Hayom Yom of the day. Very beautiful Hayom Yom. Once the Alter Rebbe stepped out of his room, and he overheard his wife was having a conversation with other women. They were having a conversation, and she said, "My husband says, mine." Alter Rebbe said, "With one mitzvah, I am yours." One mitzvah. I did one mitzvah. I was Makadish you. I did the mitzvah of Kedushin. With that mitzvah, I became yours. You call me mine. Which is true. One mitzvah, I became yours. How many are we gods? How many mitzvahs? Look at that. One mitzvah coming now. How many mitzvahs God gave us become his? With these words, he fell into the door. He, so to say, leaned on the doorpost. In great devakus, he fell into a deep thought. Went a little bit out of himself, so to say. On awakening from this devakus, is sitting and standing and contemplating against the doorpost of the house. He said, "Go out and see." Tamu uru. Go out and see. To step out of self and to perceive the divine comes from the following words of the verse, daughters of Zion. Go out and see the beauty of the daughters of Zion. What does that mean in Chassidus? Malchus arousing, Zah. It means the daughters of Zion. Malchus is feminine, arousing the masculine. The future will bring the fulfillment of a that the valor of a woman, Malchus, will crown her husband. Ultimately, will realize that Malchus is the crown of Zah. Zah is the masculine, Malchus is the feminine. I'm trying to remember the pasuk in Hebrew, Teres Baila, that ultimately she'll be the crown of her, or the Malchus will crown Zah. At this present time, we think that Zah is the giver, masculine is the giver, and Malchus is the receiver. We'll ultimately realize that the ultimate giver was Malchus. Ultimate giver was the aspect of Malchus. So that's why he expressed that, and ultimately we'll realize that my wife is her. I am my wife's, so to say. My wife, when she said, "You're mine," she was right. I am hers. And everything that I have, I receive from her. And that will be revealed in the spiritual sense. That will be revealed. That's the beauty of what the Baal Shem Tov maybe said, that we see the greatness of Anoshim Shutim. We see the greatness of the Mashiach is going to reveal the greatness of simple people. That the simple people, you might think that what have they accomplished in this world? But they overcome their nature. Tzaddikim don't overcome their nature. Most of us don't overcome our nature. A simple person that has a emunah pshuta and a simple faith does everything above his nature. He understands that concept of going above your nature. A person that is smart, he thinks that everything he does, he's in control and he knows what he's doing and what he's not doing. So his emunah is also very controlled. His faith is also very controlled. We have to step out of ourselves to have emunah, not only what we can understand, but have emunah in the Eibishter, have emunah in God, in Yudke Vavke, in Avaya, Shem Avaya. Not in the way God controls the world, but actually the God is above the world. And then when we think out of the box, we'll ultimately be able to see the greatness of our simple faith. Okay, have a wonderful Shabbos. I wish you all a beautiful Shabbos. Shabbos Mavorchim. It's a Shabbos, the blessing, a new month, the month of Adar. Baruch Hashem. We're going to a month of great Mishnichnas Adar, Marbim B'Simcha. So I wish you all a great Shabbos. I hope you learn Chitas this week and Shabbos. You learn by yourself. And Mitzvah Hashem, we're starting a new Parshas Truma, the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Let us hope we merit. Mashiach comes and we'll merit to the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Right now. Amen. Have a wonderful and beautiful Shabbat.